So, hi everybody, we are Ecological Energizer. I'm Gianni DiGirolamo.
I'm Andre Galvis.
So we're going to start off with an activity for you guys. We want you to come up to the board and write down what a poor farmer does daily.
In groups of 3. So you just go on and start drawing like a farmer and what he does daily. In groups of 3, so we have 3 people, and after you're done, another people go.
Tengo que tomar video, güey, no me acuerdo.
And guys, this can really be anything, like from the moment the farmer wakes up to the moment he goes to bed, like anything.
Pintando. Número. Ya estuve. Edítale. Edítale. Estuve. Hay que borrar el nombre.
So next 3.
Another group of 3, so come up to the board. That's okay.
That's good.
2 words.
Like here?
Anywhere.
It's something that a farmer normally does.
A farmer, but like also like something you do when you wake up. Like what does a farmer do? His daily routine.
¿Quién era usted hacer eso?
Sacar el grupo.
5.25, 5.15 laptop.
5.15 qué?
5.15 laptop, 5.27.
Patricio, si quieres mañana.
Overall.
Cualquier cosa.
Eso lo hubiera hecho un stick. Quiero, pero te puedo
Next three.
No, pues ya había empezado, no te puedo decir. ¿Qué quieres decir? ¿Ustedes ya presentaron?
Okay, now if you two to come up. And what you're gonna do right now might cause you to lose friendship with all of them, because now I need you to erase the things that a farmer cannot do if they don't have, let me write it here, energy, fertilizer, or gas. They can just go and start erasing, or that use one, in some way use one of those three.
You have to erase.
Yeah, things that a farmer.
Erase everything.
Without fertilizer.
The machine.
You can leave the farmer.
He spent a lot of time doing that little part, and he just destroyed it.
Kelsey's there.
So as you can see, the board is literally empty, except for the farmers, which shows how important energy is to especially poor farmers. And in Nicaragua, is very important.
And how the necessity for these three things is so important for farmers' daily life, for them to live, get an education for their children, and gain profit for the family income. So our project is based on helping these farmers, which with a sustainable machine that is fueled on unlimited resources, which is excrements from animals and trash, which is called a biodigester.
So our objective isn't so much to give them the biodigester and leave it there. It's really to teach them how to use it so that they can get their own energy, because in that way they can help themselves. Like the famous proverb goes, give a man a fish and you feed him for a meal, teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime.
So many of you are wondering, what is a biodigester? Many of you have never heard of it. There's many types. The normal definition is a piece of technological equipment that uses agricultural waste and trash belonging to farms to create renewable energy through a chemical process. It can use, as I already said, urine or excrement from animals, cows, and other livestock to create this energy, and it creates biogas, which is mostly methane.
So this is a diagram of what a type of biodigester looks like. So here is where you put the waste and the water, and the gas rises and comes out of this tube. And it's inserted through here, and yeah, this is how it looks like. This is how the subterranean biodigesters look like.
So after a day, the gas will be extracted from this tube, and the fertilizer will be extracted from these two cans. This is a spherical biodigester, which is made out of plastic. So why are we using biodigesters and not solar panels per se? Because biodigester is financially viable solution in Nicaragua, which is a place where materials such as solar panels cannot be easily obtained, and it could be cheaply maintained through a long period of time.
So this is a graph that shows the relationship between the price of oil and the consumption of oil. So in blue, the consumption, and you can see it slightly rises, and the price skyrockets. So this is another reason to switch to biogas, because it's a lot cheaper, because it's waste.
So there are many countries that use biodigesters: Norway, Finland, Sweden, and Germany. In Norway, most of the public buses are run on biodigesters, the fuel that the biodigester generate. Finland, biodigesters are installed, and fuel congregation plants, which is like electric plants run by biodigesters.
And what it does is that it turns the biogas into heat and electricity for the people to use.
So in Sweden and Germany, several congregations have already been put in place, which is shown in this chart.
Yeah, here is a pie chart that shows the amount of biodigesters and congregation plants per European nation. And at the moment, Germany really dominates in the biogas industry. So what is anaerobic digestion? Anaerobic digestion is the thing that goes on inside the biodigester. So it's really like a series of things that need to happen to turn waste and water into fertilizer and gas. So essentially, the water sinks into the gas, and the enclosure of the biodigester creates an effect that gas rises, and what is left is therefore an organic compound. And the organic compound can be used to fertilize crops, and not much else, but the gas can be used to cook food and turned into electricity.
So why is this simple process easy and useful? It is a suitable replacement for fossil fuels. It generates less emissions, even though it does generate, but on a lesser scale. It is cheaper to get and to have a steady supply of, and it reduces the carbon footprint in many places.
So here is a chart, like a diagram, that shows how anaerobic digestion works. So the organic waste is placed into the waste preparation, which is the biodigester, and then anaerobic digestion takes place, and two things happen. One, it stabilizes, and the organic compost is made, which is fertilizer. Two, the biogas is created, and the biogas is methane, and therefore the gas can turn into heat and electricity.
So now we're going to talk about places known worldwide which use biodigesters. The company Lean World, which is in Sacramento, California, uses the biggest biodigester in the United States. It's sometimes called the largest stomach in the USA, because it takes in all the trash and excrement from animals, up to 100 tons of waste per day, and it can generate up to 1 million gallons of usable fuel.
This is a picture of it. Yeah, it's huge. So this big cylindrical thing is the actual biodigester, and the kind of dome around it is where all the gas is concentrated. So Disney World is actually a big producer of biogas because since it receives lots of tourists, like millions per year, it also gets a lot of waste. So for financial reasons, they decided to use the waste for something good. Therefore, they set up a series of biodigesters and one small congregation plant. So essentially, they use all the waste that they get and they turn it into biogas. And a lot of the rides and lights in Disney World are actually powered by biogas. This is a picture of Disney World's biodigester. It's not as big as the other one, but yes.
How does all this excrement turn into like the methane? Does it get heated or just by mixing with stuff?
No,
it turns
just
into gas?
when you put in the water with the excrements, it creates the anaerobic digestion, which produces methane. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah, it's a chemical process.
It's a chemical
Like
process.
the reason it's called anaerobic digestion because like in your stomach, the hydrochloric acid digests the food and turns it into nutrients. Well, in a biodigester, the water digests the waste and turns that into biogas.
Bacteria.
Well, it's the water that does it. It's the bacteria created
That
from the
creates the
mixture.
chemical, yeah. So in this image, just to explain how in bigger biodigesters, the trucks carrying all the waste go to the plant. There is digestion. Then it creates electricity, fertilizer, and fuel.
So Michigan State University actually installed a pretty large biodigester, and they use their own waste, and it's actually the biggest on-campus biodigester of all U.S. universities, and it's also one of 6 universities that actually has a biodigester on campus. It's also one of the top universities to go to if you want to study anything to do with biogas. So it actually produces, the numbers here, 2.6 megawatts of renewable energy per year, which is quite a bit. And it takes in like 100 tons of waste per year too.
And
So-
it's fueled by cows.
Okay. These are the cows they use.
So going back to our project, our original plan was to earn enough money to buy a biodigester, which costs roughly about $250 each, depending on the country you are, because material prices range from country. Once bought, we would install it in a nearby community which would fit the requirements for the installation of this biodigester, which means that they have a few natural resources, for example, a few forests, rivers, or, for example, bad weather, but they need a certain quantity of livestock, not that many. Like about 4 cows can actually fuel a biodigester for about a year. And once installed, and the community or the family would be taught and encouraged to apply their savings in the future of the biodigester, and the leftover funds will be used for the maintenance of the biodigester. But the family would be taught how to use it and how to apply maintenance on it.
So why Nicaragua? Well, Nicaragua is the 2nd poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. So, for example, here it says the average GNI, which is salary per capita yearly, is $1,110. And to put this into picture, average is affected by outliers, which means that 1 millionaire affects the average, meaning most people actually earn below that number. The infant mortality rate is really high. It's 22.6 children per 1,000 born. And well, here it says more than 1.5 million people live, like more than 3 million people live in rural Nicaragua. More than half are actually in very poor conditions.
So the activities to make this happen was, first we had a big bake sale in November and a smaller bake sale in January. And the activity that produced the most gains was that we had a FIFA tournament in the school-wide kermesse. And thanks to the competitivity of the middle schoolers and high schools, we were able to gain a lot of money.
So we traveled to the community on February 28th, and it's a small community located off Managua. So it's It's an ex-military fort. So for example, they were using barbed wire to hang their clothes. It was really run down. And it was very small, but they had a lot of cattle, so it was perfect for us. They did not have any other natural resources in their area except for the cattle.
Well, this is a bad picture because there's actually a road over here,
Yeah.
but it's going to Carretera Vieja León, which is close to Managua, and it's off-road and over here.
Yeah,
is the community.
it's not on Google Maps, the road, because it's not actually documented.
So the trip to the community. We traveled to the community and installed the biodigester February 28th, 2015. And the installation process took about 3 to 4 hours because we finished it in about 3 hours, but we had to explain to the farmer's family like all the process and how to use it and how to apply their savings in it in the future.
So to install the biodigester, it was kind of a complicated process. So what we had to do was first we had to buy 2 big plastic containers with lids on them, and one had to be at least twice as big as the other one. So we cut each in half and put the top of the little one, the bottom of the little one inside the bottom of the smaller one, the bigger one, and then the top of the little one on top of that. So we also had to poke a bunch of holes into the smaller one for the filtration for the gas to rise, and that proved harder than we thought it was. So essentially we also had to poke a bunch of holes in the sides because we had to add a tap so that the water could be removed to actually use the fertilizer, and we had to add a thing on the top, like a tube, so they could hook it up to their stove and actually get the methane.
So from my awesome drawing, we can see, so this is the smaller container, so you put in the excrements inside of it, and then you fill it with water. So after a couple of days, by the chemical reaction, the gas would actually go up and be maintained here until this lid is open up and connected to a tube. The material that would run down would be water, which would be pushed out of here, and the fertilizer, which would be extracted out of here. So this is building it. As you can see, there's some cattle, and the foundation of where the cattle was the old military base.
Yeah. This is what we built. So this actually shows the potential that this industry has, because we built a small one and it was cheap and relatively easy to do. If someone with a lot more money, a lot more resources were to build a bigger one, the profits would be a lot larger. So from the total amount of money we raised was $200. So 160 from the activities and 200 that we chipped in.
And so we had a lot of challenges. First, the difficulty of obtaining a biodigester and finding a community with the requirements to build. There were obviously budget limitations due to we didn't know exactly the price of the materials of the biodigester in Nicaragua, since they aren't available a lot online or in nearby stores. And of course, the installation process and the lack of accessible materials.
Because thing is, to poke the holes, we didn't use a drill, we had to use a knife and actually put some force into it. We didn't have a power saw to saw the thing in half, we had to cut it. So it really took a lot longer than we wanted.
It was a night with a lot of blisters.
Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to revisit the community, and we want to make sure that they're using the methane and that they know how to use the biodigester. We also want to talk to the United Nations and local governments, like municipalities, to help us out and help us find communities and where we can install some.
And visually access and see how the community or the family is being, how their lives are improving through the implementation of this biodigester, and how it could be used in more communities, and how it could create, and the idea that Nicaragua can use projects like this for renewable energy and a sustainable project. So now, this is us,
This is us.
and we have a final activity. So in the groups you were in, I think, wait, how many markers? We have 4. So make 4 groups with anybody. Make new friends.
4, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess one per table.
Ustedes son ellos.
4.
Ustedes son con ellos.
I have a question, could you also use it with like human waste, or is it only the,
You can use human waste.
like I know
Want to,
girls,
yes.
but if you implemented like a lot of, like if you actually made, put them all the human waste in a certain place, it would make more energy.
This is gonna be kind of weird to answer,
Las
but
picas play.
cow feces is a lot better quality than human feces.
But it could be used. Only that it's,
Yeah.
not a lot of people are willing to do
Like,
that.
yeah, that's one thing, and also it's not like as gassy as cow waste. Like, it's a lot more nutritious because it takes in grass. Like cows eat grass, and they excrete grass too, so they have a lot more nutrients in their stool.
Any more questions?
No more questions?
Okay.
I do have one. You said you're going to plan to expand it, like having more biodigesters, and you're planning to fund them by
Well, more fundraising activities.
like bake sales and FIFA tournaments.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
actually wanna do like bigger stuff. Maybe in the
Yes.
future. It could be with United Nations. It could be lunches, movies, and theaters. But the talks with the United Nations are still in progress.
Yeah, we want to get a little bit of funding from the UN.
And how are you planning to get in touch with the United Nations?
Well, we have 2 of our parents work in United Nations, so they're inside. They're helping us coordinate everything.
Well, then.
So we have a little advantage in that.
Do you think that attract both genders too?
Huh?
Both.
Did you think that would, like activities that would attract both genders?
Yes, yes.
Not
Yes.
just people?
Yes, because how are you gonna get girls to actually, let's put it this way, invest in your
Product.
concept or project if it only is attractive to, let's say, men, or especially like teenagers. So, like she said, I believe it's convenient for you that if you want to expand, but still not get to the level of the
Yes.
United Nations, just like focus on all ages and on both genders.
I know. That's
Well-
a very good idea.
In that particular case, we knew that there was a lot of people in our school that loved FIFA, and when we pitched the idea, a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, that's awesome." So it was purely to raise more money. It was a good business, essentially.
But it's with more funding, obviously, from other organizations, we would like to create more events that would include both genders.
And there was one girl in our group, so most of the ideas were masculine.
Like, just an idea, like, if there's like an event or a theater, let's say, you could order the tickets like in a lot of amount and then resell it in a higher, like, I don't know, $2 more, and then you can make some profit out of it. But like something that would attract your own, and even tell teachers like to give extra credit or something like that.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so so with what you've heard of biodigesters, I want each of you to create your own mini design of a biodigester, and at the end we'll take a picture and take them in account for our future biodigester. So if you could please all come up.
Calla, calla, calla. No, le voy a apuntar de que
Tráete la de esta.
no, nada, se apunta y de
David?
Where are the markers?
Te pasaste de esta. Te pasaste de esta.
There's a lot more space here too.
Como que tratamiento de agua. Fue en Nicaragua. Sí, 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 porque solo se construye una vez y ya lo que le pones adentro es 100% energía.
No, pero hacerlo más como y meter. No tiene un margen. El de Tesla lo usan con qué?
Con lo mismo, experimentos de animales y basura que es en el parque con comida y
¿Te refieres a un diseño de cómo tiene que ser?
¿Cómo tiene que ser? ¿Cómo tiene que ser?
Pero por dónde entra el gas y así.
Sí, sí.
¿Y después te comió? No, eso se puede hacer abajo. Pero bien, era sí. ¿Y por qué no digo un solo porque una puerta que se abre? Bueno, lo dirás. Así entiendo.
¿Ustedes de Nicaragua?
Sí, pero es de italiano y de colombiano.
Bueno, nosotros somos árabes. ¿No se nota?
Al principio no.
¿No se nota?
¿De qué país?
Soy de Honduras, pero soy árabe.
¿De qué país? Árabe.
Eso sí.
Algo así.
Chido.
Recuerda que tienes que una cosa para aplicar para que no quede.
Supone que va a estar como enterrado, ¿no?
Sí, cosas así puede ser, pero tiene que haber una forma para sacarlo.
Mira, por aquí se va el agua. Cemento y se va el gas.
Ajá.
No, sí.
No, eso es pasado.
A ver.
Ahora ya no estoy.
Sí. Yo soy igual que tú. Sí.
¿Compraste uno?
Sí, sinceramente solo no me escucha, porque sabes que le digo algo.
Ah, es un popote.
Nos regalaron
Le hizo
un workshop.
Ya lo usaste.
con el
¿Sabes dónde?
Sabía igual, nomás que
¿Cómo?
se guardó el agua. Se guardó el agua.
A
Luego
ver.
de que lo abrí, que a tirarlo al güey. Y salió de que agua pura, de que no te.
Tenemos ahorita Miller.
No,
Tenemos
no, o sea, sí sabe bien, pero
Líder a las 5.
sale como agua.
Te lo juro.
Me mancho un verbo. Es tuyo.
No, es mío, pero ya no quiero. A ver.
Pero luego, ¿qué vas a hacer? O sea, no lo pueden ver.
Ah, te la estás tomando.
O sea, que sabe que a té,
Agua.
pero no tan té.
Oye, ¿qué? Yo quiero uno.
Pero, güey, se
¿Y
le
lo
queda.
puedes sacar del lodo?
Sí,
Según yo.
sí. Qué asco, güey. Yo no confío en eso, pero. Yo tampoco.
¿De dónde te los dan? Yo quiero uno.
Se
Yo
la
también
dio
quiero
de la
uno.
plática del final, de su plática privada, rara. Se ve raro, güey.
Está muy buena idea.
¿Verdad que sí?
El fertilizer.
Sí, pero pues está bien que vayan con compañía, así que fun.
Su jefe trabaja en la
Sí, pues sí, tiene el.
Saliste en el video tú. Saca agua.
O sea, ¿para qué funciona esto?
Era eso.
Era té y ya sabes.
¿A juro?
Uy, sí.
Está chido eso.
Hubieran ido a su workshop. Yo fui, me tardé 3 minutos. Me salí de la de. Tú estás jugando con el globo, ¿no?
Sí.
De esa me fui. Nos metimos al auditorium. Y nos acercamos, terminó. Y nos acercamos de que.
¿Quién sabe cuántos frutos traigo?
Tiene 3. O sea, uno, no sé, nos dieron de que un paquetito.
Una madre son como 3 filitas de no sé qué cosa.
De nano.
Y luego la en medio son piedras raras que purifican el agua.
Y
al final
aquí
le meten charcoal.
algo que le quita el sabor.
Uy,
Sacas, y se ve que de aquí no se ve nada, güey.
Oración o para
muy chido.
Ahí vamos.
Ya me cagaron.
Cuando sacas el agua le tienes.
Sabía que mi carrera era no los
No, de que para.
No pregunté eso.
O sea, si te la tomas, no tienes que quitarlo. No,
O sea, de que para meter, para
sí,
hacer.
sí, para
sí, güey,
meterlo.
no
Sí.
como que.
Ah, ok.
Estoy tanning.
Y es la misma
Ya me aburro.
Te lo pones por la boca
Ey, ¿te copiaste
y le
la
sale
cara?
por los pies.
¿Estás sacando la lengua?
También.
Ya para terminar, como pueden ver, crear o ver que funcione en inglés. The build the violator that actually works is pretty simple, as you can see. Most of the science work. I don't know about this, but it works and it's easy. And those 5 hours that you can spend with the family working with the violator, that you can help them for a whole lifetime. So, thank you.
Felicidades, chicos.
¿El qué?